how simple it is to make Ultimate Travel Bag. I've seen people make this bag who've never even sewn before, let alone made a bag. And before we leave today, we're going to walk through the steps to make this so you can see for yourself how simple it is if you haven't already made one of these. Ultimate Travel is made very similarly to Round Trip Duffle, except that we shape the front and the back and the zipper side strip to give it a little bit more of a feminine silhouette. So by shaping it, it comes narrower at the top than it is at the bottom, and narrower here and rounded on all those edges. Unlike Round Trip Duffle, these handles are attached directly to the bag. There's no hardware to make these detachable. But like Round Trip Duffle, it does have an adjustable detachable carrying strap with a pad. And you'll notice that most of our travel bags have a strap just like this. And again, we've got a new pattern that we did, so if you want to make one for a bag that you have, we've got a free pattern with all those instructions. It also has the very same pockets. So it's got a slip zippered pocket on front, slip pockets on the sides, and a slip pocket on the back with a trolley sleeve to attach it to rolling luggage. One thing that we did different on here is we added buttons on the bottom. We like to use these in place of purse feet so that we don't have to make holes in the bottom of our bag, and we love layering buttons. So here we did a blue and a green together on this fun bag that we made using Allison Glass's fabric. We combined two different colors too. And when we sew these on, we do it using our sewing machine. If you've never done that before, we have a really great tutorial on our website, and Trevor's going to put up the link, but you can also find it just by clicking on the tutorials tab at ByAnnie.com and then scrolling down. Scrolling down, not strolling down. All right, so that's Ultimate on the outside. So on the inside of Ultimate Travel Bag, on one side we have a full height zippered pocket, and the instructions are included to make this out of fabric or mesh. We like to use mesh because you can see what's inside. It doesn't add any extra weight or bulk to the bag, and whatever you put in there has some visibility and ventilation. On the other side, we did a gathered slip pocket, and we bound it with fold over elastic, and by gathering it, we've just got a little bit more room in those pockets. And again, these pockets are divided into sections by sewing along the lines of the handles on the outside. Rather than inserting a loose stabilizer like we did in Round Trip Duffle, Ultimate Travel Bag has an attached stabilizer sleeve in the bottom of the bag. And so your base stabilizer can be inserted into that to give a firm base to the bag. And I'll show you later how to do that because there's a couple little tricks to getting that in easily. The next bag I want to show you is Bow Me Over, and this isn't technically a travel bag, but it's Ultimate Travel's little sister, and so I wanted to show you. It's the bag that I like to use when I'm running around town, and it's put together very much the same way as Ultimate Travel Bag. The handles and straps are done just a little bit differently, and this pattern includes instructions for customizing these handles, so you can have short ones if you're going to do the attachable detachable strap, or you can make longer ones and just skip the strap. So it has a slip pocket with a magnetic flap on the front. On the back, there's a zippered pocket that goes all the way across the width, and then on the inside we have an elasticized fabric pocket, much like we did on Ultimate Travel, and a full height pocket on the other side. And again, this can be made out of mesh or fabric. On here we did the fabric, and then just like Ultimate Travel Bag, there's a sleeve at the bottom to insert a base stabilizer. Pretty soon I'm not going to be able to fit back here. All right, another bag that's really similar to Ultimate Travel Bag and made in the style of the Easy Does It is Every Day, Every Way. We designed this versatile bag to be a diaper bag but it would make a great travel bag or just a bag for every day too. It has really deep pockets on front and on back, and these close with magnets. They're deep enough that you can carry paperwork or larger items, so great for taking to and from the office. They also have slip pockets on each side, and I forgot to grab a bottle or sippy cup, but they're big enough that you can put sippy cups and bottles in them. You can carry this bag in a variety of ways, so that's one thing that sets this apart from most of our other travel bags. So first of all, we added padded handles, and these have soft and stable in them, so they're really comfortable to wear over your shoulder or over your arm. We also added an adjustable detachable carrying strap, which I actually took off just to reduce noise, but it hooks on carrying strap tabs that are on each side of the bag. And we added the option of backpack straps. So if you turn this around, we designed these so that they would fit in the back pocket. When you're not using them, they just fold down there. But when you want to carry the bag as a backpack, you just hook them on to the little clips that are at the bottom. And you've got a backpack ready to go. The other option we added is stroller straps. So for parents who want to hook this on a stroller, they can hook the straps on the sides here and carry it on a stroller too. So lots of options for carrying that. I usually tell people pick the ones that you think you will use and skip the others, because it adds a lot of weight and expense if you make all of them. So pick what you want and go from there. Here's what every day, every way looks like on the inside. So on one side we have a full height zippered pocket made out of mesh. On the other side we kind of took a design from our catch-all caddy, and rather than doing pockets, we did these bellowed dividers. So if, for instance, you had a baby bottle that you wanted to put in there, it expands wide enough to hold that easily. So you can put bottles in there, wet wipes, diapers, all kinds of things, and it expands to hold those really well. It also has a sleeve at the bottom for a stabilizer, and the pattern also includes a simple little changing pad that you can use when you need to change baby on the go. So that fits inside too. So that was every day, every way. The last bag that I want to show you in our Easy Does It style is kind of the overachieving cousin to all the other bags. This is called Divide and Conquer. And again, this bag has a front and a back and a loop that joins them that's made with your zipper strip and side strip. What we did differently on this one is we lengthened the zipper strips so they go all the way around the bag and partway into the bottom, and we also added additional pieces on each side. So what that does is creates compartments on each side and enable us to open the bag like a suitcase. Each side of the bag has a vinyl window to keep everything organized, and there are also 2 pages that have mesh pockets on each side that you can put in the middle, and you can easily flip those from side to side to access everything, and yet they're attached to the bag so you're not going to lose anything. Divide and Conquer is great for taking everything you need to a sewing class. So you can see I've got lots of fabric in here, plus tools and supplies. And then on the outside, there's 2 full-width zippered pockets, and on the back we have a strap so you can hook it over the handles on your wheeling luggage. I'm going to zip this up so it doesn't fall open on me. You'll notice that Divide and Conquer has handles attached to rectangle rings similar to what we did on Round Trip Duffle, but we added sliders on these so you can adjust them in length. And on the large one, we also added the option of a padded, removable pad that you can use to hold the handles, and it makes it a little easier to carry. So Round Trip or Divide and Conquer comes with 2 sizes, and I want to show you some of the things that you can carry. So when I went to Australia a couple years ago, I was just developing this pattern, so I took a prototype with me, and I really loved this bag for traveling. So one thing I liked is that when I was going down the aisles in the planes, I could hook the straps over my shoulders like a backpack, so I could carry it that way like a backpack. And when you're going down those really narrow aisles, that really makes it easy. But what I also appreciated about this bag is that I could use one side to hold all my business stuff. So I had my computer, all my paperwork, my chargers, my cords, my snacks on that side. And on the other side, I put my blanket, my book, my socks, my water, my e-reader, and my toiletries. So I really liked being able to separate my personal items from my business items, but I had really easy access to everything, even when it was under the seat in front of me. Because of the way the bag's designed, you can zip it part way, but still all the zippers on the pockets are at the top. You can easily access everything that's in there without having to open the bag completely. I made a small Divide and Conquer like this for my grandson when he was just little, and he still brings it with him every week when he comes for sleepovers. So what I especially appreciate is that his mom packs it the very same way every time. So I always know where to look for his PJs and his toothbrush, his undies, his slippers, his creams, his clothes for the next day. On the outside, she puts the books that we're supposed to read, the eye patches that he needs to wear because he's got lazy eye, and everything is organized perfectly, and I know right where it is. So this is an awesome bag if you're looking at wanting to make something for someone special. This is one I recommend. It's not one that I recommend if you're a brand new sewist. Make some of the others first to get the idea, because this has a lot of different features, but nothing hard about it. It just takes some time. Let's move on now to our ditty bag style bags. So if you're just joining us, we're talking today about travel bags, and we just did an overview of several bags that are made by joining a front and a back to a zipper side strip loop. Again, we're going to move on now to ditty bag style bags, which have a one-piece body. So the first one that I want to show you, if I can remember where I put it, is over here. This is a pattern called Get Out of Town, and it is just the perfect bag for sleepovers and small trips. It has one very long handle that wraps all the way around the bag, and we'll talk more about that later. It also has a detachable carrying strap that attaches to tabs on each end. And like most of our other travel bags, it has a combination slip-zip pocket on the front, a slip pocket on the back, and slip pockets on each end. So as you can see, this bag is made from one piece of fabric that wraps all the way around to form the top, front, bottom, and sides of the bag, or back of the bag. So that means if you're using a directional fabric, you need to make some adjustments to the pattern, unless you want upside down kitties on one side. So on here, we've got our cats going upright on each side because we cut our fabric in half and turned it so that the directional fabrics were facing the right way before we quilted it. The pattern's going to give you all the directions for doing that, but we also suggest that you watch our Using Directional Fabrics video, which you'll find on our YouTube channel or in the public video section of your digital library. Inside Get Out of Town are some more pockets. So we've got a full width slip pocket that's made out of mesh and bound with fold over elastic, and that's on the front of the bag. And then on the back of the bag, we have a similar pocket, but this time made out of fabric. So again, it's a full width fabric and divided into 3 sections when the handles are attached. And this bag like Round Trip Duffle, has a stabilizer, which can be a sleeve that you can slip a stabilizer into, and then you insert that into the bottom of the bag to give it some extra stability. All right, this is Get Out of Town's big brother, Travel Duffle II. And just like the other, it has handles that go all the way around, a carrying strap, and slip pockets on each end. But because this bag is wider, we're able to include some extra pockets. So on the front, we have a slip pocket in the middle, and then we added zippered pockets on each side. And on the back, we did a slip pocket and added a trolley sleeve. The Get Out of Town isn't quite wide enough. You have to have a certain distance between here to enable it to fit over your rolling luggage, and there just wasn't room on Get Out of Town to do that, but there is room on this Travel Duffle. And you will find this so handy when you're trying to carry this heavy bag through the airport. You just set it on top of your suitcase and hook the trolley sleeve over your handles, and it's going to stay there really easily. Because we added those 3 pockets on the outside, on the inside of this one, we just put 1 slip pocket. So it would have been a little bit complicated to put one. This is the front of the bag because of all the pockets that are sewn there. You wouldn't really be able to divide it, and to have a pocket that wide that's not divided, to me, would not be very useful. So on here we just put it on the back of the bag where we have that single pocket, and again divided into sections by sewing along the lines where we attach the handle. So that's Travel Duffle II. And the last bag that I want to show you is an oldie but goodie, and made again in the same way. This is our yoga bag and accessories pattern. So just like Get Out of Town and Travel Duffle, this bag is made with 1 piece of fabric that wraps around to form the top, sides, and bottom of the bag, and then it has ends on each side. We designed this bag to carry your yoga mat to class and personal items. The pattern, in addition to the bag, includes instructions for straps to wrap around the mat, and somewhere in here, I think I put it in the front pocket, maybe, a little scented eye pillow that you can use. My favorite part of yoga class is always at the end when you lay down, and they do that, and I always fall asleep. So this we made using Cuddle fabric, so it's really nice and soft. Added a little lavender, I think, in there, so that's included in the pattern as well. So that was a whole lot of bags and a lot of information. I'm going to just bring this one back up to balance me up here. I hope you enjoyed that little mini trunk show of travel bags, and that you picked at least 1 or 2 bags that you'd like to make for your next trip. Remember that travel bags make awesome gifts too. Father's Day is coming up, and I bet your husband would really enjoy his own travel duffel. If you want more information about how the sizes and features of each work, you're going to find a really awesome comparison chart at our website. If you got our email today, we had the wrong link in there, so let me tell you how to find it. So go to ByAnnie.com and click on any of the travel bag patterns. So you can go to patterns, go down to travel handmade, and then you'll see all the different bags that are there. And on each travel bag that's one of our bigger ones, mostly the ones I showed you today, you're going to see a tab that says comparison chart. And when you click on that, it will bring up the PDF, and you can print it or just look at it. It is a chart that looks like this. So it shows our major bags, and it goes through all the details, what you need to make each one. It's a really handy little chart. Also, to make it really easy for you to get everything you need to make your own bag, we have bundles for many of our projects, including Travel Duffle and Ultimate Travel. And those bundles include all the ByAnnie products like soft and stable zippers, hardware strapping, mesh, all the things that you need. You can pick the colors you want, and each zipper is listed separately, so you can even mix and match them if you choose. Oh boy, all of a sudden I got really thirsty. Best of all, everything is listed on one page and you get a really nice discount on the supplies. So just click on the Kits and Bundles tab on the top menu bar of our website and you'll find which patterns have bundles. If you're just joining us today, we're talking about travel bags. We just showed a whole variety of models of our most popular travel bags and discussed the fact that we use two basic styles. Next, I want to talk about the techniques used to make these two styles of bags and some of the tools and supplies that you'll want to have on hand. So let's start by talking about supplies. I'm just going to bring this whole box of stuff up. So all of the bags that I showed you today use some of our core ByAnnie products. First of all, and probably most important, is soft and stable. We quilt soft and stable between the main and lining fabric to provide body and stability to the bags. Also really important are handbag zippers. These are number 4.5 nylon coil zippers. They have extra large pulls. They're easy to install. They're going to last a long time. You're not going to worry about having your zipper break and trying to take the bag apart to fix it. They come in 48 fun colors, so it's always really fun to find something that blends or something that contrasts with whatever bag you're making. The next important item is strapping. We put this inside all of our handles to make them strong and sturdy and also ensure that our handles are going to match our bag. And hardware. So ByAnnie's hardware is top quality. It comes in antique brass and nickel, antique brass, nickel, and black metal, and in 1 inch and 1.5 inch. Our strapping, I forgot to mention, comes in black or white. We only stock 2 colors because we always cover it with fabric, so you don't need to have a ton of colors available. So those are kind of the basic things. Some of the models that I showed you also had mesh, which we used in our pockets to provide visibility, ventilation, and a little bit of stretch, and fold over elastic, which we use to bind pockets, either mesh or fabric pockets. It's nice to be able to pull on it to gather a pocket, and it's just a one-step binding process. The last supply that was in several of these are our base stabilizers, and we have these in a variety of sizes, and we're going to talk about those again in a minute. So as far as tools that you need, obviously you need a sewing machine. I recommend one with a good 1/4 inch foot, one that has needle down capability. You need a rotary cutter mat and quilter's ruler. As far as sizes, if I wasn't going to invest in a lot of rulers, I would make sure I had at least 1 or 2 6 by 24 inches and at least a 16.5 inch square. My favorite is a 20.5 inch square. Here are some of the ByAnnie tools, or tools that we stock at ByAnnie that I also consider essential. First, a ByAnnie stiletto and pressing tool. This is helpful when you join any of your pieces, when you attach bindings. I really could not sew without this in my hand. A quick turn tool is what we use to turn the fabric tools to make our handles and straps. We use a bodkin to pull the strapping into the handles. And then the last tool that's really essential, I think, are circle rulers. And we use these to round the corners on our bags. Rounded corners are much easier to sew than square ones, and we're going to talk more about these in a little bit. So for all of these products and supplies, check at your local quilt shop. If they don't have them, they can certainly get them from us. And if you don't have a local quilt shop, of course you can find them at ByAnnie.com. All right. Next, I want to talk a little bit about how these two main styles of bags are assembled. So we're going to start by talking about the Didi bag style bags, where you have one big piece of fabric that forms the body of the bag and then you attach ends. So this is an in-process travel duffel bag, and it kind of gives you an example of how it works. So it's big enough, it's going to take up my whole table. So when we do this, the bag body is cut as one large piece. So its width is basically the width of the finished bag. Its length is a combination of the top, the side, front, the bottom, and the back. So one thing that we do is stitch fold lines at each end of the bag body. This encourages the bag to fold along the top on each end, so it gives it a real nice, more square appearance than a rounded appearance. And this section, this section becomes the front of the bag. This section becomes the bottom of the bag. This section becomes the back of the bag. And then again, this folds over to form the other half of the top of the bag. We attach pockets to the front and the back on the inside. On this one, actually, we only do one pocket on the inside. And this is one instance where you have to be really careful. Actually, on all ByAnnie bags, I recommend you follow the instructions in the order listed and you check off each step as you go so you don't get out of order. But on this bag in particular, it's really important that once you get the components made and you start assembling the bag, that you're doing it in the right order. Because, for instance, on this pocket, you're going to put right sides together and you're going to sew across this bottom seam. You'll fold it up and press it, but then you'll fold it back down because you want this seam hidden when you sew your pockets on the other side, but you don't want, when you sew these in, to catch this in it. So you have to do this in two steps. You sew this on, you put the pockets on the other side, and then you finish stitching it on. After you do that, you attach the handles. And the handles are just one big piece that goes all the way around. You use them to cover the raw edges of your pockets. And that stitching, again, also creates the divisions that are on your pocket on the inside. Once all that's done, you're going to attach a zipper to the ends of the bag. I've already attached this side. After I do that, I'll just take the other side, line it up with the other side of my bag, sew it in place, and once that's done, I've got a loop that forms the body of the bag. Then you're going to mark the centers so that you know where the center of the top and bottom are, the centers of the sides, and you'll join those to the ends. You made the ends by attaching carrying straps and pockets to each end and rounding the corners, and again you're marking the centers of those, and then you're going to match them. We rounded the edges on these to make it easy to join them, and I've got a couple of important tips. The first is in regards to rounding them. So the pattern tells you when you're rounding these to use a 2.5 inch circular object. And the math of this piece, which is the end, the circumference around this, has to match the math of this piece. So it's really important that if I say use a 2.5 inch circle to round the corners, you do that. If you go to the corner cupboard and get a cup that measures 3.5 inches, you're going to cut away a whole extra inch of fabric and your pieces aren't going to fit. So what we like to use are these awesome circle rulers from Creative Grids. They come in a set of 5 sizes, all the way from 2.5 up to 6.5 inches, and we've got patterns that use every one of the sizes. The one we use by far the most is the 2.5 inch circle, but we use all of them. If you make very many ByAnnie bags, you really want to have a set of these rulers, so I would say treat yourself to that. All right, our second tip is the bag ends on this bag are the ones that have the rounded corners. The bag body, when you get it sewn together, is completely straight on all sides. So when you sew this bag together, I'm going to grab this smaller get out of town. Whichever piece has the curves on it, or the rounded edges, that's the end that you want to have against the bed of the machine. The body's going to be up in the air when you're joining the pieces. And it seems counterintuitive, but it really makes it so much easier because as you go around these curves, let's see if I can position this so you can see. As you go around these curves, you're able to finger press the bulk in the rounded edges away and keep it straight so that you're not sewing puckers and pleats into those. And once that end is sewn in place, then you're going to bind the edges. And again, this is where your ByAnnie stiletto and pressing tool comes into place because you really want to use that to be able to hold the binding in place. You'll sew both of your ends on, bind your edges, and your bag's done. It really is a simple bag to make. The pattern's going to walk you step by step through all of it. And again, each step has a checkbox in front so you can keep track of where you are. And I highly recommend on any of our patterns that you do that, but especially on these where it makes such a difference what order you do pieces in. All right. Let's talk now about our second style of bag, which again is like our Easy Does It bag. It has a front, a back, and a zipper side strip. And I'm going to walk you through some of the steps to make our ultimate travel bag. So here's one really important thing to know. All of our bags start with pieces that are squares and rectangles. So this ensures accuracy. It also makes them really easy to cut because you can use a rotary cutter and ruler. So you don't have templates and things to worry about. And because all your edges are straight, it's really easy to measure and mark as you attach borders, pockets, and handles. So that's one really important thing about our patterns. And as with all ByAnnie patterns, this bag is written in a certain order. So the first thing that we have you do is cut out all your pieces. Then you take those pieces, quilt the ones that need to be quilted, cut the quilted pieces from that, put labels on all your pieces so you know what they are, and then you begin preparing the components. That means getting your zippers ready to go, making your bias binding, making your handles. So in here we've got a couple of long handles that we made to go on the sides, making your carrying strap, making your carrying strap tabs, and making all your pockets. So we've got the slip zip pocket that we made for the front, the slip pocket for the back, a couple of slip pockets for the sides, and then a couple of mesh pockets. So on here we did the mesh pocket for the inside of the bag and also a mesh pocket that goes on the other side of the bag. These were from my original Ultimate Travel bag. We've eliminated these bindings in the current pattern, and we use fold over elastic on this so it stretches along with the mesh, and we just attach the zipper straight to the mesh in this new pattern. So it makes it quicker and easier, and I really like having the fold over elastic on that. The next thing you're going to do is make your zipper side strip. And so that's 2 pieces of fabric and you attach a zipper in between them. And it's done just like our regular zipper installation, same as before. Whoops, excuse me, I think it may be that you make the side strip first, but you've got your zipper strips, and after you make your zipper strips, you're going to shape them. And that's just a matter of marking some lines. Jake, I don't know if you can see those, but you mark lines in the middle, you connect the ends of that lines to the corners, you stitch a little bit inside that line, and then you cut away the fabric on the line. So you're going to go from this straight edge to an edge that looks like that, and that's what's going to give you the narrowing of your bag at the top. So you'll get your zipper strip done. Then you're going to do your side strip. And our side strip also starts, just as everything, as a rectangle of fabric. So the first thing you're going to do is sew your carrying strap tabs on. And you put 1 on each end. Then you attach your side pockets, and that's just sewing across and bringing it up. Then if you want to put buttons on the bottom to help reduce wear, you sew those on, and then you're going to shape this. And in this instance, it's just a matter of drawing an angled line here and here, stitching inside it, and then trimming on that angled line. Once you've got that done, you're going to join your zipper strip and your side strip. So here it is with the edges angled. You're going to join those 2 strips to make the loop that goes around the outside. Then you can start on your bag front and back. So I'm going to move these out of the way so you can see the front of the bag. So here's the front of the bag. we're marking lines, and the pattern tells you exactly where to mark them. So you're marking lines for both attachment of the handles and the pocket. You're going to put your pocket down between the marked lines, stitch around it, and then you'll take your handles and put them on, and they're going to cover those raw edges, and you'll stitch those in place. You'll do the same thing on the back. On the back, this again is our older pattern that had a back strap across the top. The newer pattern has a trolley sleeve down here. So this is the very original ultimate travel bag. We like the trolley sleeve better. It's a little easier to work. When you do the bag back and the front, after you have all the pieces added, and you'll put pockets on each side as well, then you're going to shape these. And the shaping on these involves drawing an angled line in on each side and then using circle rulers. So on the top, we use a 5.5 inch circle to round the top. On the bottom, a 2.5 inch, and that gives you just the right size so that you're guaranteed, if you use the right sizes of circles, that the math of this piece matches the math of our side strip. So then we take those pieces, put them together. Again, the piece that goes on the bottom, the rounded piece goes below. We mark centers, we attach this, sew it on, bind it, shape and attach the bag back, and our bag will be done. So a simple process, follow it through the steps, and you've got a really easy to make bag. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is base stabilizers. So once you get your bag finished, grab this Ultimate Travel that's back here, you're going to put the stabilizer in. Again, we have stabilizers made out of acrylic available for several of our bags. So this one is made for the travel duffel. This one is made for round trip duffel. This one for get out of town. And this one is our most versatile one. It works for carry-on travel bag, road trip, take a stand, the large size, and ultimate travel. So on some of those bags, you just put it in a sleeve. Let me show you for this one. So for get out of town, you're making basically a pillowcase for it. And the secret on inserting it in there is we always make this longer. You slide your stabilizer in, and then whichever piece doesn't have the seams, I like to fold that end in first, and then I just turn the other edge in on the back. And that way, when I put it in the bottom of my bag, my seam is hidden on the outside and this end is really finished. And when I'm ready to wash my bag, I just pull this piece out. If I want to throw this in the wash, I can, but I can pull the acrylic piece out and launder it really easily. Now on Ultimate Travel, our sleeve for the stabilizer is attached. So here's what you need to know about that. First, make sure the bag is inside out when you go to do it. Then take your stabilizer, slide it into the sleeve, and now we have to turn the bag inside out, or right side out. So to do that most easily, open these zippers so I can get there, I grab one end and I just start turning. So I get that end turned, and then I reach in and grab the other end from the outside. And finish turning it right side out. So again, if you want to launder this bag, you're going to want to turn it right inside out again so that you can remove the stabilizer. It's too hard to try and remove it while your bag is right side out, but simple and easy to do. On our everyday, every way bag, we don't actually have an acrylic stabilizer for it. So on this bag, I made a stabilizer, and we talked about this in a previous week. This is one that I cut out of Plascolite. It's a corrugated plastic cardboard. You can also make this out of foam board, and it works really well. It's not quite as sturdy as the acrylic, so when you put it in and turn your bag right side out, just be careful that you're not bending it and breaking it. But that works really well. So we covered a lot of materials today, showed a lot of bags, and if you've got any questions, be sure and leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed seeing all those and seeing how easy it is to make them. We want to move on to some comments and questions from last week. A lot of people commented last week about the quilt hanging behind me, and I have a feeling probably that's happening again today. This is a pattern called Pleated Log Cabin. It was designed by my good friend Lynn Wilson, who lives in Australia, and we carry Lynn's patterns on our website, so you can find it at ByAnnie.com. And I have a special announcement that Lynn is going to be our guest on June 9th. So two or three weeks from now, she'll be with us, and we're going to show models made from a lot of her patterns. She's going to share her folding technique for how she does the pleated log cabin, and it's going to be a lot of fun. She's going to be joining us at like 5:30 or 6 a.m. her time, so it's going to be a really early day for her and for those of you who are joining us from Australia. But be sure to mark your calendar for June 9th. She's got some really fun things to share. Also, while we're talking about marking your calendar, on July 7th, I have made arrangements with Roxanne and Jess from Red Roxy Quilt Company in Iowa to join us, and they're going to do a demonstration of quilting your fabric on an embroidery machine. So that's something that I really want to learn, and I can't wait to do that. And then on August 11th, we're going to go behind the scenes with Free Spirit. And we've got really 3 great guests lined up from Free Spirit. Debbie Stark, who is the creative director, Nancy Jewell, who is the managing director, and Sharon Thornton, who is the marketing director. So we're going to talk all about how they choose designs to print, how they market them. If you've got any questions about fabric design, printing, and marketing, let us know, and we'll be sure and ask them those when they join us in August. So we had just a few other questions. I see Trevor's put some more on my list. What is the quilting style on the Ultimate Travel Bag by Allison Glass? So I'm not sure if you were which of these you're talking about. Both of these bags were quilted by Linda Brown, who is our awesome long arm quilter. She quilts on a Gamel machine, and she does pre-designed designs. She usually tells me what that design is, so if you can be specific and you want to just shoot us an email, which bag, if you've got a long arm and you can do those, I can probably find out which design she used. But I love how she picks designs that really complement the fabric and makes them really easy. Someone also asked, will you talk about the stroller straps and how they attach and how you use them? Yes. I have a mess back here, so it's going to take me a minute to find that bag. All right. So on Every Day, Every Way, did I stick them in the back, I hope? There's our carrying strap. Okay, so the stroller straps are designed to hook onto the same strap that you would hook the carrying strap to. And the way these are designed is you wrap them around the stroller. Glo, come show me. I need your arm. I need a stroller strap. So you're going to wrap it around like this, bring this through here, and then hook it onto the bag. So that's your stroller. Glo's arm's my stroller, and then I'm going to bring that around and just hook that in place. Thank you. You make a beautiful stroller strap, or a stroller handle. All right. Looks like that's all the questions Trevor added to my list. So let's go now to some questions and comments that came in from last week. Everybody really enjoyed our segment on bindings. I enjoyed reading everyone's comments. Using the hammer and the extra lines of stitching to reduce the bulk were especially popular. And several people said they really appreciated the discussion about what width to cut their bindings. Let me get this out of the way because I got something else I want to bring up here in a minute. All right. Marge said that when she does her binding, she turns her binding around to the other side and clips it in place with Wonder Clips, and then she lets it sit overnight before she stitches it the next day. She said that giving the fabric a memory of where she wants it to fold is really helpful, which I thought was a good idea. Now we just have to get the little night fairies to come and stitch it while we sleep, and we'll be all set to go. And several said that they really appreciated learning how to calculate and cut the square for bias binding. And Leslie had put a comment in last week for someone who asked about that, but I had forgotten to mention it. We have a wonderful little booklet available on our website. It's called Math for Quilters, and the formula for calculating the square is included in here. There's some great little charts, inches equivalents, yardage equivalents, how to calculate what size to make your borders, all kinds of stuff. It's a really, really helpful little booklet and one you'll really appreciate having. So you can find that on our website. Math for Quilters is the name of it. Diane said, I still have problems joining the ends of bias binding on a project. And Nancy said, I get more than a 1/4 inch dog ear when I'm trying to join my bindings. And I had made a little sample and brought it down, and I have no idea where it is now, but I'm just going to talk you through this. So when you're joining 2 strips to make a continuous piece of binding, you have to offset the ends so you have dog ears. And when I first started, I found that really hard. So to make it easier, what I did is I marked my 1/4 inch seam allowance on the piece that was going to go on top. So it's got a diagonal end, and I just marked a 1/4 inch away from that. And then when I aligned it on top of the other, that line would have to fall within the cleavage on each side. And then you can just stitch right across the line and know that your piece is going to be straight and even once you open it up. If you need tips for joining the ends with a diagonal seam once the binding is attached to the bag, be sure to watch our beautiful bindings video because it goes into all the details for that. And you'll find my favorite method for joining ends at about the 26-minute mark. And if you're watching it on our YouTube channel, Jake has time-stamped all those sections so you can go straight to the section that says how to join the ends. And again, I want to note this is a method that always works for me, and I like it because even when I'm in really tight quarters or I'm working with dimensional pieces and can't always flatten my bindings easily, I have good success with it. But there's lots of methods for joining the ends, so if you have a method that works better for you, by all means use it. All right, Jackie said, I have a problem with my binding. I sew it on, and when I turn it, both edges aren't sewn in and I have to rip it out. Do you have any tricks to keep the 2 edges together, especially when going around the corners? And I say pin it. I put pins every 3 inches or so, and then really pay attention as I put those on that those edges are together, and as I go around the edges, I don't take the pins out until I get to them so that the edges stay together. Because of the way I join bindings, I like pins best because I want to be able to open my strips at the end. But some of my pattern testers like to sew the edges together. So they'll fold it in half and stitch about 1/8 of an inch or less from the edge. You just have to be really careful to keep those edges again, and I would recommend doing that with a dual feed foot so that your layers don't move differently. So again, watch our beautiful bindings video and you'll get lots of tips for that. So again, to thank you for joining us today, we have a giveaway, and we are going to do, oh, here's one more base stabilizer that I forgot. So this is our smallest one, and this one works in Bowl Me Over and in our MJ's Messenger Bag large bag. So there's that. So our giveaway today is going to be the round trip duffel pattern. And included in this pattern is a coupon, so you get the add-on video that goes with it also. So you'll get the pattern, the video, and this video goes into a lot of steps. And then you also are going to get the base stabilizer for the round trip duffel. So to win this prize, again, you have to do this on Facebook. It doesn't work on YouTube. Comment. The first thing to do is comment. Tell us what you learned today. If you have any tips to share for making travel bags, which travel bag do you want to make next? Or is there another size or style of travel bag for which you'd like a ByAnnie pattern? We always love getting ideas for new patterns. And the second thing we want you to do is tag a friend. We really want to spread the word about our Facebook Lives, so share it with someone who you think would enjoy this weekly presentation. And to tag someone, if you're not familiar with that, you just type the @ symbol, their Facebook name, their picture will pop up. You can confirm you've got the right person, click on it, and then add your comment and submit it. We're going to pick winners from comments that are made by midnight Mountain Time tonight. So you've got about 9 more hours to watch and add your comment. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Next week, again, we're going to talk about more travel bags. We've got a beautiful garment bag to share and a lot of accessories that I like to use in my suitcase when I travel. So lots more fun ideas to share next week. So we will look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. And until then, happy stitching.